After listening to this, everything you thought you knew about reality, about your life, about your power to create, will shatter like glass under the weight of truth. Imagine for a moment that the world you see is not fixed, not rigid, but utterly malleable, shaped by the silent, unseen workings of your own mind. What if I told you that the key to every desire, every dream, every miracle you seek lies not outside of you, but inside, in the fertile realm of your imagination? This is not a fantasy. It is the most profound and practical law that governs your existence. The law of assumption. It is not what happens to you that shapes your life, but what you assume to be true, what you persist in feeling as real, that manifests your world. When you truly grasp this, your entire life changes. You stop begging the world for blessings and instead step into the throne of your own conscious power. You become the creator of your destiny. Feel this: the moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your subconscious accepts it as fact. It does not judge or reason. It does not differentiate between truth and fiction. It acts only upon what you impress upon it through your dominant feelings and imaginal acts. So what you persist in feeling, whether doubt, fear, or faith, becomes the seed of your reality. This is why so many fail to manifest their desires. They do not live in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, but rather in the contradictory emotions of lack and longing. You must live from the end, from the state of having what you want, not from the state of wanting it. This is the secret that changes everything. No longer are you a victim of circumstances. You are the sovereign architect of your experience. Hold in your mind's eye the scene that implies your desire fulfilled. See it clearly, feel it deeply, and allow no contradictory thoughts to disturb this inner conviction. Imagine yourself in the moment of joy, of peace, of satisfaction, as if your wish is already accomplished. This imaginal act is the seed planted in the subconscious soil, and from it the external world will sprout. Time and external conditions are irrelevant to your inner conviction. The world will align to reflect what you assume, whether instantly or through the natural unfolding of events. Do not concern yourself with the how or the when. Your task is only to maintain the feeling of the fulfilled wish with unwavering faith. Remember, the law of assumption is a divine truth waiting for you to awaken to it. It places infinite power in your hands, the power to change your relationships, your finances, your health, your entire life, by changing your assumptions about yourself and your world. Your imagination is God within you, creating reality moment by moment. When you truly embody this truth, you will no longer be moved by outer appearances. You will walk confidently in the knowledge that what you assume as true must come to pass. For the universe reflects your inner world with absolute fidelity. This understanding will change everything, because you will no longer be controlled by your circumstances. You will control them. What is it that shapes your experience of life? Many believe it is the shifting tides of circumstance, the actions of others, or the uncontrollable events that unfold outside themselves. Yet this belief is the very thing that chains the human spirit to limitation and suffering. The truth, hidden yet simple, is that your reality is born not from the external world, but from the assumptions you persistently hold within. These assumptions are the unseen architects of your world, the silent laws that govern your existence. It is not the facts or appearances around you that mold your experience, but the consistent inner convictions you choose to accept as true. Consider the mind as a fertile garden. Into this garden, you plant seeds with every thought and feeling. Some seeds bloom into beautiful flowers, while others grow into thorny weeds. The garden cannot tell the difference between the seeds you plant with hope and those you sow in fear. It merely nurtures the seed you nurture most deeply. This garden is your subconscious mind, a powerful force that works behind the scenes of your awareness to bring forth the fruits of your dominant assumptions. If you repeatedly assume scarcity, failure, or loneliness, These are the harvests you will gather. Conversely, if you assume abundance, success, and love, these become the natural result of your inner cultivation. The key is in the word persistently. A passing thought or momentary wish has little power. It is the steadfast, repeated assumption, the feeling you hold as true despite appearances, that commands the subconscious to bring it into form. This explains why so often people find themselves stuck in cycles of unfulfilled desire. They entertain their wish, but do not commit fully to the assumption that the wish is already fulfilled. They vacillate between hope and doubt, between longing and disbelief. Such contradictory feelings act like weeds, choking the growth of their desires, preventing the subconscious from acting decisively. You might ask, how can I know what I am truly assuming? The answer lies in observing your habitual feelings and beliefs. What do you accept without question as the state of your life? What do you imagine as your future without hesitation? These are the assumptions that shape your reality. The world around you is a mirror, reflecting back what you believe at your core. It never lies. It simply shows you what you have chosen to accept as true. When you decide to change your world, you must begin by changing your assumptions. But this is not a simple intellectual exercise. It is not enough to say, I want to be wealthy or I want to be loved. Such statements are mere wishes if they are not accompanied by the deep feeling of already having those things. The assumption that changes reality is one that lives and breathes within you. It is a feeling of certainty, a knowingness that what you desire is not in the future, but already present and real. This knowingness is not based on external evidence. Indeed, the external world may seem to contradict your assumption, but this should not shake your inner conviction. The moment you accept appearances as proof of your lack, you give your power away. Instead, you must learn to live in the end as if your desire is already fulfilled, regardless of what your senses tell you. This means embodying the state of having your wish now, feeling the joy, the relief, the gratitude that comes from knowing it is yours. By doing so, you impress this assumption upon your subconscious mind, which then sets about manifesting it in your outer world. This process might seem mysterious, but it is as natural as the sun rising each day. Your subconscious is a faithful servant, always working to make your dominant assumption real. It does not question or hesitate. It moves with absolute obedience to the impressions you give it. Therefore, your job is to guard your assumptions carefully, to nurture only those that serve your highest good. Many struggle because they focus too much on the how of manifestation. They want to know the exact steps or the precise timing. Yet this curiosity can lead to doubt and impatience, which undermine the very assumptions that bring desires to life. The secret is to trust the process and remain faithful to the assumption, even when the world seems slow to respond. The unseen forces are always at work, quietly rearranging circumstances to reflect your inner state. It is also important to understand that changing assumptions is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice. Old beliefs die hard, and the subconscious often clings to familiar patterns. You may find yourself slipping back into old assumptions of limitation or fear. When this happens, gently but firmly return to the assumption you desire. Persist until the new assumption becomes your dominant reality. Like learning any new skill, it takes repetition and patience. Your power to create is immense, but it requires conscious use. Your imagination is not a playground for idle daydreams, but a sacred tool for shaping your destiny. By assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are planting seeds that will inevitably grow into your reality. Do not underestimate the quiet, consistent power of this practice. It is the secret that can unlock any door, dissolve any limitation, and transform your life completely. In the end, the external world is but a reflection of your internal state. Change what you assume, and you change everything. Your life is yours to create. All you need to do is take the reins of your imagination and persist in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. When you do this, you step into your true power, and nothing in the world can stop the manifestation of your dream. To understand the true power behind manifestation, one must grasp the crucial role that feeling plays in the process. Thought alone, no matter how intense or frequent, is not enough to create the life you desire. It is feeling the deep, vivid, emotional conviction of having already received what you want that activates the creative power within. The subconscious mind, which is the engine behind all manifestation, does not respond to intellectual concepts or fleeting thought. It responds only to the dominant feeling impressed upon it. This feeling acts as a seed planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious, which then germinates and grows until it manifests in physical form. When you desire something, you are naturally inclined to think about it, to imagine it, and to hope for it. But if you stop there, if you remain in the state of desire or longing, you have not yet impressed the subconscious with the reality of the wish fulfilled. The subconscious mind requires a feeling of certainty and completion. It must be made to believe that the desire is already accomplished, that the object of your longing is not in the future, but in the present moment. This is why merely wishing or hoping is ineffective. The feeling of having it now is what unlocks the power of creation. Imagine the difference between a child who wants a toy and a child who is already playing with that toy in their mind. The child who only wants the toy is in a state of lack. Their energy vibrates at the frequency of wanting and waiting. The child who imagines playing joyfully with the toy is already in the state of possession. Their energy vibrates at the frequency of having. Their subconscious mind cannot distinguish between the imagined reality and physical reality. It accepts what you impress upon it with feeling. Therefore, the child who feels as if the toy is already theirs plants the seed for it to appear. Feeling is the secret because it colors and saturates your imagination with emotional power. The subconscious mind is like a mirror, reflecting back what you feel most strongly. If your feeling is weak, doubtful, or hesitant, the reflection will be equally uncertain and incomplete. If your feeling is vibrant, unwavering, and filled with the satisfaction of possession, the reflection will be clear and strong. This is why many people fail to manifest their desires. They do not cultivate the feeling of the wish fulfilled with enough intensity or consistency. To truly impress the subconscious, you must cultivate the feeling in a way that is convincing and convincing beyond doubt. This means engaging all your senses in the imaginal act and evoking the emotional state that naturally accompanies the realization of your desire. If you desire wealth, do not merely picture a sum of money or an amount in your bank account. Feel the relief, the pride, the freedom that having that money would bring. If you desire love, do not merely think about being with someone. Feel the warmth, the joy, the deep connection and acceptance as if it is happening now. The subconscious is driven by emotion, not logic. It accepts the emotional state as fact and sets about manifesting circumstances that correspond to that state. This is why feeling is the secret. It is the emotional charge that activates the power of manifestation. When you cultivate the feeling of the fulfilled wish, you send a powerful command to the subconscious, which then arranges the external world to match the inner reality. It is important to recognize that feeling must be maintained even when external circumstances seem to contradict your desire. Often the senses report a lack, failure, or absence of what is wanted. This can shake belief and diminish feeling. But the creative law does not depend on external evidence. It depends entirely on the feeling you sustain. To remain faithful to your assumption despite appearances is the true test of mastery. It is in this fidelity to feeling that manifestation is born. This fidelity is not blind hope, but a confident knowing. It is the state of living in the end as if your desire is fulfilled and unchangeable. This state does not waver with the changing circumstances, but remains steady like a lighthouse in a storm. It is through this unshakable feeling that the subconscious is convinced to bring forth the desired reality. The world will then conform to your inner conviction, and the manifestation will appear, often in unexpected ways. Another aspect to understand is that feeling is not about forcing or struggling to create emotion. It is about entering naturally into the emotional state that corresponds with your fulfilled desire. This requires practice and patience, but it is a skill that can be cultivated. Through repeated imaginal acts and deliberate focus, the feeling becomes second nature. You learn to inhabit the state of fulfillment effortless and persistently. Many fail because they rely too much on intellectual reasoning or external validation. They wait for signs or proof before allowing themselves to feel the joy of having what they want. This is a reversal of the creative process. The feeling must come first. The evidence follows. When you make feeling the foundation of your creative work, you align yourself with the invisible forces that govern reality. In essence, feeling is the language of the subconscious. It is the medium through which the unseen communicates with the seen. By mastering your feeling, you master your world. Your imagination, charged with feeling, becomes a powerful instrument to shape your life. No longer are you a passive observer, but an active creator. When you learn to feel your wish fulfilled, you break free from limitation. You step into the reality that is already yours in the invisible realm and invite it to manifest in the visible. This is the essence of true creation, the secret to turning dreams into experience, and the reason why feeling is indeed the secret. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is not merely a place of fanciful thoughts or idle daydreams, but the very workshop where reality itself is forged. The images you hold in your mind, charged with feeling and belief, become the blueprint from which your life unfolds. This creative faculty within you is the secret source of all your experiences, and learning to use it consciously is the key to transforming your outer world. The world you see is nothing more than a reflection of the inner pictures you entertain. Therefore, living from the end, the state of having already achieved your desire, is the most potent way to engage your imagination and bring your dreams into being. To live from the end means to place yourself in the scene that implies your desire fulfilled. It is to see with the eyes of the imagination the state you wish to realize, and to dwell there with feeling and conviction. This is not a superficial visualization or a passing thought. It is an immersive experience where you engage all your senses, creating a vivid, believable reality in your mind. When you do this, you impress your subconscious with a concrete impression of reality. The subconscious accepts what you impress upon it without question and begins to align your external world to match this inner state. Imagine that you desire success in your career. Instead of focusing on your current lack or challenges, you imagine yourself already successful. You see yourself in the role you wish to hold, performing with confidence and ease. You feel the satisfaction and pride that come with achievement. You hear the words of praise from others, feel the respect, and experience the flow of abundance. This scene, rich with sensory detail and emotional weight, becomes the seed that your subconscious will nurture until it manifests outwardly. Living from the end is more than visualization. It is a state of being. It requires that you embody the emotions and attitudes of the fulfilled state. This embodiment sends a clear signal to your subconscious that the desire is no longer something to wait for, but something that already exists. The subconscious, which does not understand time, acts on this assumption, as if it were fact. It does not question or resist. It simply moves to make the imagined scene your reality. Many people fail in manifestation because they try to chase desires from the standpoint of lack. They say, "I want this," but their imagination remains focused on the absence rather than the present. They hold mental pictures of struggle, delay, or disappointment. This conflicting imagery confuses the subconscious and delays the fulfillment. To manifest effectively, one must shift from wanting to have. This shift changes the vibrational state of the individual, aligning it with the reality of the fulfilled desire. The power of imagination lies in its ability to bypass the conscious mind's limitations and speak directly to the subconscious. The conscious mind is often filled with doubt, skepticism, or reasoning that can block manifestation. But the subconscious is receptive to clear, consistent impressions from the imagination. When you live from the end, you silence the doubts of the conscious mind by focusing exclusively on the reality you wish to create. This focused imagination is a form of prayer and command that the subconscious cannot ignore. It is important to make the imaginal act as realistic and detailed as possible. The more you engage your senses, what you see, hear, feel, smell, and even taste, the stronger the impression you leave on your subconscious. For example, if you imagine living in a new home, do not merely picture the building, feel the texture of the walls, the warmth of the sunlight streaming through the windows, the scent of fresh paint, and the sound of laughter echoing in the room. This fullness of experience convinces the subconscious that the scene is real. Moreover, repetition and persistence are essential. One imaginal act may not be enough to overcome ingrained beliefs or habitual assumptions. You must return to your imagined scene frequently, especially before sleep or during moments of quiet, when the subconscious is most receptive. Each return deepens the impression, making it increasingly vivid and real in your minds. Living from the end also means adopting the attitudes and behaviors consistent with your fulfilled state in waking life. Act as if your desire is already realized. Carry yourself with the confidence, peace, and joy that come from having what you want. This alignment between your inner imagination and outer conduct reinforces the impression on your subconscious and accelerates manifestation. Sometimes you may encounter resistance, feelings of doubt, impatience, or fear that arise when your senses contradict your imaginal assumptions. This is natural but must be managed with care. When such feelings arise, gently return your focus to the imaginal scene and the feeling of fulfillment. Do not fight or suppress the doubt. Simply shift your attention back to what you wish to be true. Over time, this practice strengthens your inner conviction and weakens the hold of limiting beliefs. Your imagination is a divine gift. It is the stage upon which you rehearse the reality you wish to live. By mastering the art of living from the end, you harness this gift to create life on your own terms. The outer world will respond faithfully, reflecting back the inner scenes you have chosen to dwell in. This is the great secret of creation. The imaginal act, lived with feeling and persistence, is the bridge between desire and reality. When you understand and apply this truth, you step into the role of conscious creator, shaping your destiny with every thought, every feeling, every imagined scene. To truly master the art of manifestation, one must understand the delicate yet powerful role that doubt and conflicting emotions play in the creative process. The mind is a garden where every thought and feeling is a seed. When you plant seeds of certainty, faith, and unwavering belief, your desires flourish and manifest with ease. But when doubt, fear, and contradiction take root, they act like weeds that choke the life from your dreams before they can blossom. The subconscious mind, which is the fertile ground where all manifestations grow, cannot hold two opposing assumptions at once. It must be impressed with a single dominant feeling, a single truth that you accept as reality. When your feelings conflict, the subconscious becomes confused and manifestation stalls. Doubt is the enemy of creation because it weakens the impression you make on your subconscious. It sends a message of uncertainty and disbelief, and this divided signal produces a divided reality. When you doubt, you are saying, in effect, I want this, but I don't believe I can have it. This internal contradiction creates a barrier that prevents your desire from moving from the invisible realm of imagination into the physical world. The subconscious, loyal and obedient, acts on what it perceives as your dominant feeling. If doubt intrudes, it will gravitate toward that uncertain state rather than the fulfilled desire. Conflicting emotions operate in much the same way. You might feel hopeful one moment and fearful the next. You might believe you deserve success, but secretly feel unworthy. These opposing emotions create turmoil in your inner world and send mixed signals to the subconscious. Since the subconscious cannot differentiate between what you want and what you fear, it responds to the strongest emotional impression. If fear or lack feels more real than faith and abundance, then fear becomes the blueprint for your experience. To avoid this, it is essential to cultivate a single, clear, and consistent emotional state that aligns with your desire. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. It means choosing deliberately to focus on the feeling of having what you want, regardless of current circumstances. The power of your inner state lies in its persistence. The more you persist in feeling the fulfilled desire, the more your subconscious is compelled to create conditions that match this feeling. One of the greatest challenges in manifestation is maintaining faith, when external appearances seem to contradict your assumption. This is the test of true belief. The senses often report lack, delay, or failure, tempting you to revert to doubt or fear. Yet the law of creation does not depend on sensory evidence, but on the feeling you hold within. To overcome this, you must develop the discipline to hold your assumption steady, despite appearances. This is not blind optimism, but a conscious choice to trust in the unseen reality you have imagined. When you hold conflicting emotions, you are, in effect, tearing yourself in two. You become a battlefield of opposing forces within your mind. This internal conflict prevents the subconscious from acting decisively. It cannot decide which reality to create, because you have not made your position clear. To manifest successfully, you must make your inner world coherent and harmonious. Your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions must all align with the assumption of your desire fulfilled. This alignment creates a powerful resonance that the subconscious cannot resist. It moves like a wave of energy that reshapes your outer circumstances to reflect your inner conviction. When you live in harmony with your assumption, you experience a sense of peace and confidence. You no longer struggle or strive, but flow naturally toward the realization of your desire. It is helpful to become aware of moments when doubt or conflicting emotions arise. Rather than judging or suppressing them, observe them calmly and gently redirect your focus back to the feeling of fulfillment. This practice strengthens your control over your inner state and trains your subconscious to accept your chosen reality. Over time, this habit becomes second nature, and your manifestations become effortless. Remember, manifestation is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. All doubts and fears may resurface, especially when facing challenges or setbacks. When this happens, return to the feeling of the fulfilled desire and persist in your assumption. Persistence is the key to overcoming the weeds of doubt and cultivating the garden of your dream. Your emotional state is the language your subconscious understands best. By mastering your feelings and eliminating conflicting emotions, you give clear instructions to the creative power within. This clarity unleashes the full potential of your imagination and brings your desires swiftly into form. The secret to manifestation lies not in forcing outcomes or controlling circumstances, but in nurturing unwavering faith and emotional harmony within yourself. When you learn to guard your feeling carefully, to cultivate faith, and to resolve inner conflicts, you become the master of your destiny. Doubt and conflict no longer hold power over you. Instead, you wield the creative force of your imagination with precision and confidence. This mastery transforms your life, allowing you to manifest any desire by aligning your inner world with the reality you wish to create. Time and external appearances are often mistaken as barriers to manifestation, but they are illusions born of the senses, not truths of creation. The creative process does not unfold according to the clock on the wall or the evidence seen with physical eyes. It operates in the realm of the invisible, where time does not exist and appearances are but shadows on a cave wall. To master manifestation, one must learn to detach from the limitations of the outer world and place full trust in the inner reality of assumption. The unseen realm is eternal and immediate. What you assume as true in your imagination is already accomplished and waiting to be revealed in the physical. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you enter a state that transcends time. You live in the end, not in the process. This means you do not concern yourself with when or how your desire will manifest. The when is a question for the external world, not for your imagination or faith. Your task is to persist in the feeling of the end, the state of having already received. The law of creation responds to the persistent impression you make on your subconscious mind, which moves beyond time to bring forth the physical reality. Appearances often contradict your desires and cause doubt. You might see lack where you want abundance, illness where you want health, or loneliness where you want love. These contradictions tempt you to accept the reality of the senses and abandon your assumption. But to do so is to give power to the false evidence of the outer world. The senses report only the present condition, which is mutable and subject to change. Your imagination, charged with feeling and faith, holds the eternal truth of your fulfilled desire. When you cling to this inner truth, you create a tension that compels the external world to catch up. The external world is a mirror reflecting the state of your consciousness. It does not create you, you create it through your assumptions. This reflection can lag behind your imagination, because the physical world must rearrange itself according to your inner state. This rearrangement takes what seems like time, but in reality, it is instantaneous in the realm of consciousness. Your faith and feeling bridge the gap between the unseen and the seen, dissolving the illusion of delay. The challenge is to remain unwavering in your assumption, even when the outer world contradicts it. This requires a deep trust in the creative process and a refusal to be swayed by temporary evidence. You must cultivate a mental state that is impermeable to doubt, a place of calm certainty where your desire exists as a living fact. When your inner state is fixed and unshakable, the external world must conform. It is helpful to understand that manifestation often occurs through natural unfolding rather than sudden miracles. Your assumption sets a course and circumstances rearrange subtly and gradually until the desired reality emerges. This unfolding may appear slow, but it is sure. By remaining steadfast in your assumption, you accelerate this process and avoid frustration and impatience. Moreover, you must be vigilant not to introduce contradictory assumptions through your thoughts or speech. Complaining about the delay, worrying about how things will happen, or focusing on the absence of your desire strengthens the false evidence of the senses. Instead, reinforce your assumption with positive affirmations, imaginal acts, and feelings of gratitude, as if your desire is already fulfilled. The secret to transcending time and appearances lies in the mastery of your imagination and feeling. When you live fully in the end, you tap into the eternal now, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your imagination becomes a portal through which the invisible world communicates with the visible. The moment you impress your subconscious with the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you command it to manifest regardless of time or circumstance. To practice this mastery, choose a moment each day to immerse yourself in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Engage all your senses and emotions as if your wish has come true. Do this especially before sleep, when the subconscious is most receptive. Each repetition strengthens the impression and loosens the hold of the senses' contradictory evidence. Remember, the physical world is not the master, it is the servant. It follows the lead of your consciousness and obeys the laws impressed upon it by your feeling and imagination. When you understand this, you will no longer be at the mercy of time or appearances. Instead, you will hold the creative power to bring your desires into manifestation with certainty and ease. Time and appearances are merely the stage props in the grand drama of creation. The true reality lies in your inner state, in the assumption you make and live by. By mastering this inner reality, you align yourself with the creative forces of the universe and become the author of your own experience. No external delay or contradiction can stand against the unwavering conviction of a mind that lives in the end. When you truly grasp that your reality is shaped from within by your assumptions, your feelings, and the vivid scenes you choose to live in, you unlock the boundless power to create your life conscious. Doubt and conflicting emotions lose their grip when you steadfastly embrace the feeling of your wish fulfilled, living in the end as if it is already true. Time and appearances become mere illusions, unable to sway the certainty of your inner conviction. Your imagination, charged with unwavering faith and emotion, impresses the subconscious mind, which then works silently but surely to manifest your desires into the physical world. This understanding transforms you from a passive observer into an active creator of your destiny, where every thought, feeling, and assumption serves as a building block in the masterpiece of your life. Embrace this truth, persist with faith, and watch as everything changes, because the power to change everything has always been within you.